Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James13 Wicca, just in case you're seeing it somewhere else. The dice and the cards I'm using are listed below if you want those details. Also, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into your choice. Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Taurus? This could be good. I think we gotta go a little farther. This could be good. The trick is to disconnect from what other people are telling you it has to be done. And you stepping back and going, wait a minute, I don't have to do this your way. What is going on? There's something here where I keep getting the impression from other people, like, you got to do it this way, Taurus. This is how other people have done it, Taurus. 1, 2, 3, Taurus. You know, there's a pattern, Taurus. You got to do it this way, Taurus. You got to do it this way, Taurus. The thing is, yes, you're a pattern person. Yes, you do things by the tried and true process that's been proven to work. But you're the one choosing which process, and you're the one choosing how fast and when it starts. So there's a pressure behind this where you have to do it this way, Taurus. You have to do it this way, Taurus. You have to do it this way, Taurus. And it's kind of like, wait. We need to step back and step away from the chatter, because it's almost like you're going to miss an opportunity, because it's just like somebody's trying to make you feel like you have to do it this way. You have to. You get to decide which process you're going to use. Once you decide in the process, you'll get into it and you'll do it the same way every time. That's how you do things. That's fine. But you get to choose which process, when it starts, and how fast it goes. We need to kind of remember that to get into this. This has happened to you before, where other people have tried to railroad you one way or another. Railroad you when... It's weird, because it's not like it's a bad social connection, but they don't do things the way you do things. Whoever this is, I feel like this could be the hard part of it. There's people here who I feel like they're good people. I don't think they have malicious intent. I don't feel that anyway. But they don't do things the way you do things, which is fine. But it's also remembering that when they're trying to give you the impression, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. Well, if they were doing it, yeah, probably. If they were doing it, or if they are doing it. But you have your own way. And it's kind of like having the minute to step back and disconnect and go, wait. That's them. And I don't feel like this is an energy that you need to argue with. I feel like this is one I just need to get a break from. I need to step away, sort it out for myself. How would I do that? What would I want? I know that that's the process they used. Is that the only process? Do I believe that's the only process? Do I believe that that's the most successful process for them? But is there a different way I could do it that would be more successful for me? Same result, different way. It's because it's not a bad energy. I feel like that's hard, because somebody's like pushing energy towards you, and they're not bad. They don't have malicious intent, but they're not your flavor. They're not your. That's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. You know. How do these two? Can we get like? It's hard because I keep getting that it's nobody's doing anything negative. It may have. they're not trying to be negative. They're not trying to cause anything. They're not trying to cause damage for you. I feel like if I'm able to disconnect the person or people possibly it's coming from, and I can, especially with the internet nowadays, you can find a lot of information how different people did different things, what actually needs to happen, why this, why that. You can find the details of like, why was that done, why was this done, how long do you have to wait for that. It reminds me of like some bread stuff. Like when you're making breads, like it's not just you get flour, you get this, you just do this, you just do that. Sometimes it's the type of flour you get, the quality of the protein content, I want to say, why you would add this, why you would put this quality of butter, why you would not put this in there, why you would use this type of yeast, why you would use this type of herb, how long you would let it set, where you would let it set, how hot it has to be, but also how humid or not humid it needs to be. Like there's details. You could find like the reason behind this, the reason behind that. This is what's going to empower you. I feel like I got to step away from this energy though. It's not a bad energy, but it's not going to work for you. They're highlighting this. It showed up on the dice, this card, the Hermit. If I can spit it out, the Hermit is there. And the Two of Pentacles. You kind of slowly falling in love with this situation on your terms, learning it on your terms, doing it your way. There's a possibility here for you. I have to disconnect from the randomness. I have to make sense of it. I don't know if it's disconnect from the randomness or make sense of the randomness. Might be a little bit of both. It's kind of like looking at the situation like, oh, that's why it's like that right now. That's why that's happening that way right now. That doesn't have to be the case. It maybe thrives in this bedlam, but it doesn't have to be in bedlam. It can be organized and sane, and it can still flourish. In fact, maybe it can flourish better. It's kind of like stepping away from this Wheel of Fortune and going, wait, what's here? It's thriving in the Wheel of Fortune, but do we have to have the Wheel of Fortune for it to thrive? This is you taking your time, taking it apart, learning the details. This is why this happens. This is why that happens. It's because it's so crazy that they're just defaulting to doing it the right way. That's why it's working, because they have to wait. They have to put it over here. It just happens to be the right temperature here. It happens to be the right humidity here. It's working to their advantage because it's so crazy, but you don't have to be in a crazy situation for it to work out. It's realizing why these things are working. I know the judgment is in your favor, no matter what path you choose, which is fine. I feel like this is like, did I just do Capricorns? I think I did. It's about you having that position to know what's going on, and you go, yes, this because of all these reasons, or no, not this because of all these reasons. It's having that in a way that, works for you. So the Star card, it's high intellect, and the Six of Swords. Okay. So I don't know, this is going to sound strange. Normally, I would say touching base with somebody you already trust makes sense, but if you already know that the way they do it is not the way you would do it, that may not work for you. It makes sense why you would want to do that, because you got to find the truth. You can't do anything without the truth. You need this. And it's kind of like, I need the harsh reality of it. I don't need it looking pretty. I need to know the bare bones. I need to know why this, why that. I don't need it looking pretty. I need the raw data. Why this works, why that doesn't. I need to know the raw data. It doesn't have to be pretty. In fact, if it's not pretty, that actually is a confidence builder for you. Like, I'm not talking about somebody talking harshly to you. Just the harsh, like, this failed, and it failed because of that. This worked, and it worked because of that. And like, just like the bare bones, like this, just the raw, this is why it worked, that is why it didn't. Bam, bam, bam. It's a confidence booster. I keep getting that. Because it's like, I don't want it tied up in a pretty package. Not for this. No, I need the raw data. I can do a lot more with the raw truth. That way I know what I'm working with. I know what I can build with it. I know what I can do with it. That, I don't want somebody, so, okay, I don't want somebody to put it in a pretty package. I don't want that. I keep getting like, no, don't take time doing that. No, don't do that. Just give me the raw data. I want raw data. I can do a lot more with it. This isn't the time for it to look pretty. The finished product, yes, you're going to want that to look perfect and nice and all bells and whistles. Yep, that's great. We're not there, though. We're building. We're building. It's not supposed to look pretty the whole way through, in my opinion. Okay. Fire. Fire going to earth. Okay, so fire going to earth. You learning what to do and testing it. Fire going to earth. Fire going to earth. So it's like testing little things. I just gave this analogy. I think it was Capricorn again. I don't know if you have a connection with Capricorn. They're also an earth sign. It doesn't have to be. But if you're working with somebody like that, this might be a very helpful thing to watch this reading and that reading. So this is maybe your side of a similar story. The energy coming in is kind of like the ice cream. I made an ice cream recipe once, and it seemed a little unorthodox because, at least it was from my knowledge of ice cream, because it was something where I put it in a pot on the stove and I heated up the dairy, and then I added sweeteners and I melted that in and added some other things and they melted in. And it just, the way it kind of came together, it kind of, I think I actually had to bring it to a very slow boil, I think. It's been a long time since I made it. And then I had to wait for it to cool down. And then I had to put it in the ice cream maker. And yes, it took me most of the day to do it. But it was the best, it was vanilla ice cream, and it was the best vanilla ice cream I've ever had. I haven't made it since, though. But what I've learned from that, and the quality of what I got, I was very, very happy with. And the point of that analogy is kind of like taking your time to test certain things. So like if this was, for example, going to be an ice cream shop, just for argument's sake, taking the time for you to test these recipes, what works, what doesn't, is the process worth it? What type of result do I get from this process? What else can I do with the same process? That type of things. You building and testing that way is a little bit of a risk, but it's like if you end up with good ice cream just for yourself, that's still okay. But for example, if we're going to use this same example, if I did all that work and then it wasn't edible, like I wasn't seeing it being inedible. I was like, well, unless I burned it. If I burned it, it would have been inedible. But like taking that risk was worth it for me because it wasn't like the worst thing. I wasn't gonna lose the house over it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wouldn't have known how well it was going to work out if I didn't try. It's like taking little risks like that will bring you forward and bring you a lot more education on the situation to help you discover and create the process that works for you. You are in the creation process. The magician came in. So part of this is like, yeah, you're going to learn and find out how other people do things, but you got to create your own process here. Part of this success is you creating the process that makes sense to you, that you know you can depend on. So like, you know, whatever I did with like heating up the elements and stuff like that, I've heard of other people, they just heat up the parts that need to be mixed, like the sugar. And even though you can use confection, like using granular sugar and heating it up and then mixing it to other things so it's in liquid form, and then adding it into, you know, the dairy part at the appropriate time might be another possibility. That's something, if this process was, as the analogy goes, if this is a process you were discovering, you might try that to see if it works. And you'd be like, oh, it wasn't as good, or oh, it didn't really mix well, I didn't really like that outcome. That might be something you would try. I hope that analogy made sense. It's kind of like you discovering and taking the risk and kind of going, this is a small risk that could have a big payout. So it's not betting the house. So it's not the worst thing. I may end up, you know, burning or getting a batch of ice cream that's ruined, but it's one batch of ice cream. And what I'm learning from that, I can take a lot farther, whether it passes or fails. There's a lot of possibilities. There's also a lot of creativity in this. A lot of creativity in this. You might have some assistance, you might not. I don't know. It depends. Because you got judgment in your favor and the Knight of Cups and happiness. Well, it's joy. But, all right, let's see. How is that adding in? You may or may not have somebody helping you with the creativity. That's up to you if that's appropriate. There's a lot of thoughts here. There may be somebody with a lot of creativity that they just couldn't seem to make it happen. That may be a springboard for you. Two of Swords, High Priestess, Judgment, and the Knight of Cups with the Joy card. Take it with a grain of salt. I know it's a general read, but it could be somebody else has a lot of information or a lot of work that they just couldn't make happen. You might see what they tried and be like, well, that's why it didn't work, or this is why that didn't work, or I could see where this would fail because you did that way. But if you kind of tweak it a little here and tweak it a little here, you actually might be able to find out if this could actually work. Taurus is stellar with working with the process and doing the tried and true method. So when you're looking at somebody else's notes and what they try, it might be very easy for you to go, oh, well, you didn't stay in the process. You kept jumping around. You cooked it at a low heat here and it was okay, but you cooked it at too low of a heat here and it just never boiled, so you didn't get the mixing, so it was still granular. You cooked it at way too high a heat, so you kind of burned it here, so you had burnt flakes in there, so that really, even though you didn't put the burnt pieces in, it still created a flavor there that wasn't good. You might easily see like, well, of course it didn't work. You did that. You stepped away from the process. That's why that kind of failed. I don't see it like there's a lot of positive energy. Like we're seeing they're more than happy to share this information if that's the case. There is a very positive energy here along with this. This energy, whatever this is more compatible, more conducive, more connecting, it meshes in well. It kind of it marries in well. I don't know why I'm cringing at that word, but there you go. There's nothing wrong with that word. I don't know why, but it doesn't have to be like a romantic thing. So maybe that's why I'm cringing at it. But like this energy kind of, it interweaves with yours fairly easily, if that's there. The creativity is a big piece. So if it's coming from you, that's cool. If it's coming from somebody else that's helping you, that's still cool. Whatever works for you. But there's definitely creativity here with the Seven of Cups. Is the Six of Cups down here? No. So you may have a history with this person. If there's creativity there, there may be something with that, some type of history thing. But this is the Seven of Cups. This is talking about creativity, possibilities, things coming in. There's also like a privacy energy here. There's only so many people you're going to let know what you're doing. I don't think that's a bad thing. People may know you're doing something. They may know you're up to doing things and learning, but this isn't for everybody. This is for you and whoever you find appropriate that could actually help grow the process. That's kind of why I'm getting the Nine of Wands too. Not everybody is allowed in this situation just because they want to know. I wouldn't share that information. If they could add to the process, if you think they have information they can share or at the very least are willing to share, then okay. But if you have people like they don't have anything to do with this, or you're like, well, they do something similar, but you know they're not going to share their information with you, then this isn't for them. If they're not going to share with you, there's no reason for you to share with them. Harmony. I keep getting something about not sharing with people who aren't sharing with you with the harmony. So it's like if they're giving to you and they're helping you, then giving back, that's great. But if they're not giving to you, don't give back. Don't give to them if they're not giving back to you. There should be that infinity loop thing going on there. The energy's weird with that. I feel like, is there something I'm missing? I know we've gone on for a while with this, but I don't want to miss it. You know when people are just like, they're just nosy, or they're trying to get your information so they can use it for their own. Just be aware of it. Don't share with people who aren't going to be helpful to you. If they're good to you and you want to be good back, that's great. There's something about that with the creativity and like, be selective who's allowed in that. Don't let, just because people want to know doesn't mean they need to know. You know what I mean? If they can't add to the process, if they can't help you build it, then they need to stay over on their own. Stay over in the room. I don't know. There's something about that just kind of bothers me. It's kind of like, make sure only the appropriate people are allowed close to it. That's all. The final couple cards here. More and more, this is a creative endeavor, whatever this is. It's got a lot of creativity, a lot more information coming in. There's long-term plans that need to be made. Part of the creativity is you deciding how the process should work. I don't feel like it's just going to be, we do it the right way the first time. I feel like it's going to be, we do it this way and it was okay, and then we look at the process and we go, I think we could do this a little different, and I'd like this a little better if we did this a little different. It's an evolution in process, and that's with the Two of Pentacles and the Star card here. There's a lot of intellect going on here. This is going to be a process that he has to keep being refined over time. You will probably find your optimal process down the road, but it's going to be a labor of love. It's going to be an evolutionary situation. I feel like they're trying to get you into that mindset of like, this could take years before you find the exact perfect way to do it for you, perfect way for you, the way you feel most comfortable with. Could take years to get there. So they're saying keep looking at the process and keep questioning if that was the best way to do it. Keep questioning, is if we try this a little differently, if we do this a little differently, could we get a better result? Could we get a smarter result? Could we get a more lasting result? Keep questioning the process. It could take a couple of years. Doesn't mean we have to make big changes every time we look at it, but it's kind of like, it's almost like, okay, we've done this 3 times, and it's like, we didn't change anything the last couple times, but, I keep wondering, like, does this make sense that we were doing this? Maybe if we try just a little bit different this one time with a smaller batch, let's just see what happens, just for the education purposes of it, stuff like that. Because you got a lot of success, but it has to keep evolving for you to get this total success that you actually want. I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.